Welcome back to Blue Jays Express. Bichette has refused the idea of returning to the Toronto Blue Jays, and the reason behind it is far bigger, because now never entered B. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Let's go blue. Here's where things get complicated. Over the last 24 hours, every major update around Bichette has pointed in one direction. The numbers surrounding his future have skyrocketed. But what's more surprising is why they've skyrocketed, and that's exactly what we're going to break down. Because this isn't just about money. There's a deeper shift happening in the negotiation, one that puts Toronto in a position they were hoping to avoid. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll understand why many insiders believe the Blue Jays are already losing this battle. So let's start with the surface level. Bichette's projected price has now passed $200 million. Not could reach. Not maybe. Analysts insist that any team wanting Bo must start above that number. And this alone puts Toronto at a disadvantage. But this is only the first layer. The real issue begins with the 2025 season. Bo didn't just bounce back. He completely rewrote the scouting report on him. Teams saw the adjustments at the plate, the improved discipline, the renewed consistency. At 27 years old, he is entering the stage of a career that front offices pay premium money for. And that matters, because when a young shortstop produces numbers like that, the market reacts instantly. But here's where the story takes its biggest turn. Bo returned during the World Series with an active leg injury. Something Harold Reynolds said made him money. What he meant is this: teams don't just pay for talent, they pay for toughness, leadership, and postseason DNA. Bichette came back injured in the biggest moment of the year. That changed the way other organizations viewed him. And that single moment could be worth tens of millions of dollars. Now combine that with the next factor, scarcity. The 2025-26 free agent class is extremely weak at shortstop. There is no other player with Bo's offensive upside available. So teams looking for an impact bat in the middle infield have exactly one elite target. When the supply is one and the demand is many, the price doesn't rise. It explodes. That's why insiders are saying overpay. That's why $200 million is now the starting point, not the ceiling. And here's the quiet detail that connects all of this. Several teams outside the AL East have already begun internal discussions about pursuing Bichette aggressively. These aren't rumors, they're patterns. And every time one more team expresses interest, the cost goes up again. Toronto knows this, Bo's camp knows this. And that widening gap is creating the core problem of this negotiation. Because now we arrive at the part nobody wants to say out loud. The relationship between Bichette and the Blue Jays was never warm. Professional? Yes. Respectful? Yes. But never personal. Arbitration years were tense. Extension talks never gained momentum. And when a player enters free agency feeling he's never been valued the way he believes he should be, he rarely returns unless he is paid above what he can get elsewhere. Not matched? Exceeded. This is the moment where fans start asking, well, how much would it take? And the answer, the real answer, is the reason you'll want to stay with me to the end of this story. Because according to multiple insiders, even if Toronto stepped forward with $200 million, even if they stretched their payroll further than they've ever gone, it still might not be enough to change Bichette's direction. Not because the money isn't high, but because the timing, the leverage, and the market conditions all favor him walking away. Toronto now faces a decision that could define their next 5 years. Either push into financial territory they've never explored, or prepare to rebuild the infield without the player who has been the heart of their lineup. And every hour that passes without movement makes one outcome more likely than the other. If you want every update the moment it breaks, make sure you're subscribed, because the next developments could completely reshape the Blue Jays offseason, and the clock is already running out.